thank you for tuning in to SoCal Surf with Dan Nappy. Today, Monday, holiday, thought it was going to be really crowded, and sorta. So I went to Huntington Pier on the south side, and I went alone because nobody was available to go this morning. So it was just me, so I took my bicycle, put the rack on it, and put my surfboard in it, strapped it down, blah, 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 went down to the pier. I looked on both sides of the pier, and there was a lot of people on the north side. I looked on the other side, and I saw a really good wave, and there was nobody over there. So I thought, well, I don't know. So I took my board off my bicycle and locked it up against the wall there upstairs on the pier. And I started walking out, and I got to the water, and I'm looking on both sides. I'm still, thinking I'm going to go to the north side, but I put my board in the water and started paddling and got out pretty easy. It wasn't very big. It was probably only, let's say, waist high. Occasionally something else would come in a little bigger, but not very rare. So about waist high, paddled out. I looked to my right, which had been north, and I saw 50 surfers in the water. I looked to my left, which was the south side, through the pier, and I saw nobody, zero. So I thought, I'm just going to give it a try. So I paddled through the pier and went down about 50 to 100 yards from the pier, and just me. There were two guys a little further down, about another 50 to 100 yards further down, and I kind of stayed close to the pier at first, and nothing came. I think I was too deep, so I paddled in a little bit, and I kept looking at the pier to see my mark, because that's a good thing about surfing at the pier is you can look over at the pier and you can see where you are depth-wise, and you can stay in that area pretty easily because you can judge it from the pier. So I moved in about 50 yards because I was way out there. And finally I started catching some waves, and they were smaller, and they were a lot of closeouts, but I managed to get some shoulders. And then, so I was pretty much alone on the south side from a little after 7 till 8 o'clock. So almost an hour, it was just me. And so it's kind of spooky as far as that goes. There's no one out there, and the water moves, and fish jump, and there was a seal. So you have to think about all kinds of things when you're alone. But I stayed busy chasing waves. For the first hour, a wave would come, and I could take it. There was nobody around me to even worry about. And then a little after 8, another guy came out, and then I got the best wave of the day. It popped up rather quickly, and I spun for it and caught it on the shoulder going left. And I dropped down and did a couple of turns, and it still laid out in front of me. So I did a couple more, and then I just pulled out and sunk and paddled back out. And that was a pretty good sized wave for the day because they were pretty small generally, but that one was almost shoulder high. And then I paddled back out and caught a few more. But then from then on, it was like every time I turned around, someone else was paddling out. So between 8 and 9, people were paddling out, and there was some that paddled across from the north side over to the south side. Apparently they saw me ripping it up. Not really. So they paddled over. So it started to get a lot of people. So I moved further south, about another 50 yards or 100 yards further south from the pier. And then I caught a couple more. And then I got a big right, and it was a closeout. So I dropped to the bottom, came up to the top. I saw it was closing out, so I got a little speed and tried to do a hit off the top. And it was the biggest wave that I've ever tried that on, because it was a big outside set. And I hit that lip on the top of the wave, and it just ripped the board right off of my feet. And I went flying down the face of the wave, free fall, all the way down to the bottom of the wave, and landed on my right side where I hit, and it felt like someone just slapped me right in the kidney. And I had a pretty thick wetsuit on, so I felt that fall, and then I got tumbled a bit, and that was okay. But that fall was pretty sweet. But the board went flying, so I kind of did a halfway. I mean, if you were taking a picture of it, and you took a picture just before I fell, it would have looked awesome. But then a lot of those pictures you see in the magazine are great moves, but then you don't see them surf out of it. And I did not surf out of it. I went flying down the face, slapped the bottom of the wave, and then got tumbled. But it was worth it to hit that top lip and feel the power of that wave. So next time I'll have to be a little bit further forward and not quite so steep on that. So it was pretty sweet. And then paddled back out and went on another wave, but this time I went to the right, which was rare. Every wave I got was a left except for that one right. I did a nice sweet bottom turn, then it kind of rolled over the top, and then it faded away. And that was a right. And then I took another left after that one, and this one was also a closeout. There was quite a few closeouts. But as I started to close out, I kind of just ducked under the lip as if I was going to get covered up and make it through. I knew I wasn't going to make it through. So I got covered up for a second, and then I pulled the board into the wave, which I was going left, so I pulled it into the wave going left with my right arm and tried to pull it through the back of the wave, but the wave just sucked the board wide away from me. And then I went tumbling a couple of times and then got up, and that just then another set came. So I got pounded by the bigger set because I was stuck inside and I couldn't get out. I had to be very patient and wait for it to settle, and then I just shot right out after that. So it was a pretty good day, and then and I stayed a long time. I was all by myself, and so I wasn't looking so much on the clock. And I surfed from a little after 7 to 10, a little after 10 actually. And like I said, towards the end, people were coming in one after the other, and by 10 o'clock it was pretty crowded. I could still get a wave, and I got my last wave, and it was right about 10ish, and I took a left, and it quickly closed out, so I peeled back hard right and rode out in front of the whitewater, and I was going pretty fast, so I kind of shot out in front of the whitewater pretty good, and then I just jumped towards the nose and laid down on the board and tried to have it carry me all the way in. And I made it pretty far. I almost made it all the way in, but then there's that little dead zone right near the shore today, and so I didn't make it all the way. And I paddled for a little bit, caught a little wave, and then walked out on the sand. So pretty good day at Huntington. It was beautiful sunny weather. I had my wetsuit on, my winter wetsuit, a 4-3, which is very thick. And not because I was cold, it's because my summer one had ripped a seam. And I took it in to get repaired because that seam was digging into my shoulder and it was under warranty. So I took it in, and it's going to be a week or two before I see that again. So I'm going to have to wear a different wetsuit. And if it's warm again tomorrow, I'm going to take one of my Holy Summer ones and take that one instead of that winter one because I was just cooking in that thing. The sun was blazing on my back, and had to crash a couple times and duck dive just to cool down. So the water's still warm. The air was magnificent. The sun was out. There was no wind. Just a beautiful day in the neighborhood. All right, so thanks for listening. I will see you tomorrow and give you a report. It's the best time of the year for surfing. That's my report. But tomorrow we'll see who's going. Maybe we'll go together. Maybe I'll ride my bike again. But that's it. So check out our sponsors, nappyclothing.com, for some custom handmade clothing, and Merch Hero, which is a company that does promotional items like pens and T-shirts and stickers, whatever you want. You can put your name on it. And Swing Easy Hammocks, which is a portable hammock you can take with you and hook it up anywhere. And then, of course, Task Bullet, which is a company that gives you assistance in your office work via overseas. So it's much cheaper to get your work done through them. Anything that you would do, make phone calls, address envelopes, go on the internet, whatever, you can pay them to do it, and it's a lot cheaper on the company. So give them a call. Thanks for listening. I will see you tomorrow. I mean, if it's good. I'm pretty sure it will be. Thanks. Bye.